Now, the video is commissioned by anti-racism charity Show Racism the Red Card and will feature in full on their YouTube channel from midday. It follows stories of frontline NHS staff with support from high-profile stars such as Gary Lineker, Chris Kamara, Wes Morgan and Andy Robertson. Have a listen to a taster from the video campaign.
I want to thank everyone on the NHS frontline. I'm sure the nation will join me in assuring you that what you do is appreciated, and every hour of your hard work brings us closer to a return to more normal times.
This particular patient who I'd nursed for years goes to me, "You need to go away." And I said, "I beg your pardon." She said, "You need to go away." And she was like, "No, what's that on your head?" And I literally froze, and that's when I realised that my headscarf was playing quite a big part in this.
Hopefully, now that this has been brought to the attention how fantastic the NHS are, then maybe this will help.
NHS workers should not be subject to racism and deserve a workplace free from prejudice.
NHS workers, like all of us, deserve to work in a workplace that is free from racism and prejudice. I'm sure everyone would like to join me in thanking all the NHS workers and staff in the heroic efforts that they've put in during this crisis.
It was interesting there hearing from, amongst others, Chris Kamara, Wes Morgan, Andy Robertson. Martin's listening on, so too is Big Bob. We're joined, guys, this morning by NHS nurse Shazia Parveen. Shazia, good morning to you.
Good morning, David.
Good to speak to you. Sorry about the circumstances under which we're speaking. You featured in that video, as I understand it. How sad is it, from your point of view, Shazia, that we even have to highlight the racism that is suffered by people working in the NHS?
To be honest with you, in this day and time, it is extremely sad to be still having to be focused and saying that these things exist. And we shouldn't have to, because people are aware the education tools are out there, but we still are pushing to try and get a zero tolerance for racism, no matter where we work, but especially in the NHS.
I mean, Shazia, it's not as if the job isn't hard enough, is it?
Exactly, and that's the point. So, we go there to serve our people, really, our communities, but then to face such situations where we have to take a stop moment to realise, hang on, I'm a bit different. And the reason I'm different is maybe because I'm wearing a headscarf, and that stands out, and you see the behaviour is different. And we shouldn't have to have that, because, we're no different in the way we communicate or we deliver care. It's just an appearance, and that appearance should not be associated to negativity, because, as you're aware, not all of us are the same.
But what is the initial reaction that you have when suddenly, when you're trying to treat someone, you're racially abused?
I honestly will have to take a stop moment, and I think I said that in my interview, and the stop moment is going away from the situation. But one thing I can say with my hand on my heart is that it doesn't change the way I feel towards that patient, and the patient care doesn't change. And I think that does come through to that individual, and the individuals do change eventually. I can remember several accounts where I've actually had apologies from patients or relatives on their behalf, and you just sort of think, well, I don't really need that apology. I just need people to educate others that it does hurt, regardless of the jobs we do.
Shazia, hi, it's Bob. Is there a type that you experience this from? Is it an age thing? Is it? I'm interested because I live in London. I live in North London, where it doesn't ever occur to me that some people in the National Health are different cultures and different ethnicities, because it's just part of life. So, is it a particular type of people? Is it older people? I don't know. It's hard
to be honest with you, through the experience in the 22 years, a majority of the experience that I have faced of racism from public and patient has been from the elder generation. And I think, obviously they've been affected by what they've been through in life, and which is understandable. And I suppose that's where our compassion comes into it, and we hold no grudges, that we do understand that what they faced. However, we're not the ones delivering that, and we weren't part of that. And it does seem to be, but I have had, people in the same age group as myself in the 40s make a stupid comment, and it might come across as banter, but you do know that was actually a bit more than banter and not needed.
Yeah. I mean, Shazia, you say you treat the people with the same patient care. You would be thoroughly excused from doing that in my eyes.
We probably would be, but I wouldn't be the job that I am if I didn't, if I treated anybody any differently. And I think that's what the message is that we face these things, but we ourselves have to tell ourselves that we can't treat them differently. And I can honestly remember the lady that I'm talking about in the video. I went back out there and gave her the hug next day I saw her. It really does not change the way we think. Well, at least I hope it doesn't. But I do know that particular day I sat crying. And there's been many other incidents where I have been traumatised and upset. But I come back out with a smile on my face, as I call a work smile, and you get on with it. Because I know they've experienced some sort of hate themselves to be able to return that hate. It's just hate to the wrong person.
Well, how about that for a reaction from Shazia? Racially abused and then goes back in and gives the person a hug.
Yeah, exactly, which is exactly what people do. They rise above it. But what terrifies me is if it was just older people, it was a generational thing, and it was going to get better. We should have started to see that happening now. But even now, when the National Health Service is under more pressure than it's been in anybody's memory, and the National Health Service staffed by a huge amount of people from all different ethnicities, well, even this is going on, still, so it just makes me think sometimes, is this a battle? It just seems unbelievable that this sort of thing's still happening, and I wish there was some kind of answer, and I just don't know what it is.
Bob, if you look at our own Prime Minister, two of the people that attended to him and helped to save his life were as we call them foreigners. They were from out of this country. I think things need to change here. The view that we have of people, with different religions, different colours, sexual orientation. These people are caring for us in our hospitals and our homes.
Yes.
They're on the front line. They're going in at the beginning of all of this, with hardly any protection for their and no thought of their own health going into this. There's been many people lost their lives, and I think if anything that comes out of this, then we have to sort of draw a line that everybody is their fellow human beings. It doesn't matter what colour they are, what religion they are. We have to embrace everybody in our own country. They're here to work for us, and they're saving lives, these people. These barriers now, it's time they came down. And it is an educational thing. I know we're looking at age groups, but we need to educate some of the elderly here.
Yeah, I mean, there will be people out there this morning, Shazia, who are guilty of racially abusing a member of the NHS. If they're thinking this morning about why they did it, think long and hard. And I hope you're listening to this. Think long and hard. And listen to what Shazia is saying. She said someone racially abused her. Thereafter, went back in and embraced the patient, gave the patient a hug. That's a phenomenal attitude, Shazia. Shazia, how have you coped with life on the front line at this time?
To be honest with you, I'm shielding at the moment because I have a very long-term serious condition. But it's not been easy watching my colleagues fight the battle at the front line and supporting them in different ways, by counselling, coaching, or whatever I can do in the limits that I'm allowed to do it in. But it's been a very painful event, losing colleagues. It is what it is, and we're in a situation which none of us have had practice in before. We have busy times, busy periods, but this is something no one can actually say, well, we've had a trial, it didn't work out, and we're doing things differently. This is something that we're learning, and colleagues are learning every day, and hats off to each individual that gets up every morning and goes out there to serve our communities. It's heartbreaking for myself that I'm not their part of it, but I do know that if I was, I would come in the category of BAME, and also with a long-term condition, I may not have survived. So I'm looking forward to the part when I'm back there doing what I do best, and that's delivering care.
I think, Bob, it's a moment in time, isn't it, that we all have to thoroughly appreciate what Shazia and everybody in the NHS actually does. If we didn't know it before this pandemic, we know now. These people are so special to us.
Jim, care is a very particular thing. You can either do that or you can't. It's very special people that do this. You know, and you quickly get found out if you're in the health industry and you don't really care about what you're doing. My mother has Alzheimer's, and she's in a local home here, the Vale in Oxford. It's an incredible home. It's won many awards, actually, for its care. And some of the people are quite beautiful in there, the way they look after my mother. Of course, they're all in lockdown now. We're not able to go and see her. But when you can quickly see who's cut out for the job and who isn't. It's a vocation for these people. They genuinely want to love and care for people. They don't know the people initially, but they become very affectionate and close to their patients, and they do incredible jobs. Truly do
indeed. Shazia, you do know we love you. Martin Keane, Bob Mills and Jim White, we love you. We haven't even met you, but we love you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I think the one thing I'd like to say to everyone that is listening is that just treat people with respect as you would treat your own. That's all we're asking for. Nothing different.
Shazia Parveen, you have played a blinder. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for joining us. The video campaign launches today, and it highlights racism suffered by staff at work in the NHS. It's been commissioned by anti-racism charity Show Racism the Red Card. And that's from midday today. Thanks, Shazia.